morning everybody and welcome back to day 2 of the short game series. We're introducing a little bit of chipping for you today, and the way we're going to set ourselves out about today's lesson is looking at some options to begin. What options do we have before playing the shot, visualising the shot, choosing different landing zones and understanding the run-outs associated with the club, and then looking at the setup and technique and practice drill swings for you to use. So let's get to it. So I've selected 3 different clubs. We've got the sand wedge, we've got the 9-iron and the 7-iron. So let's just hit a few shots and then we're going to show you the different sort of launch ratios and roll in a chart, in a table afterwards. So I'm going to choose the sand wedge first. And now looking at the 9-iron. Same again, just using the 7-iron. So what we've got here, guys, if you have a look on the left, we've got the sand wedge, the 9-iron and the 7-iron. Now if you just cast your eye across to the right until you can see carry then total, this is just showing us how far I've managed to carry the ball compared to its roll and total. So if you look at the first one, which we know is a sand wedge, I've carried that ball 25 yards, it stopped at 32. Now, continuing down the carry chart, then the 9-iron, well, I've carried that a lot less, 16 yards, and it's rolled out, look, to a position where it's travelled 35 yards. And then lastly, you know, if you look at the 7-iron, I've carried the ball just 9 yards in the air, and then it's run and stop to 27. So we can also see across here, if we look at the launch angles, how we're beginning with, you know, a bit of launch, so 33 with the sand, 22 with the 9, 17.5 with the 7-iron, and of course that's going to have a changeable characteristics of the shot. So dependent on what you have in front of you, you can select which club you feel is going to do the job for you. So if you have a hazard in your way, you need to get the ball a little bit higher, then yeah, you might want to choose a sand wedge or a lob wedge, you know, just to get a little bit more height on the shot and grab. Whereas if we've got a lot of grass to play with, you know, you might want to see the ball roll out more like a putt. Well, you could choose a less lofted club and get the ball rolling a lot more, and that may help you just get the ball a little bit closer. Let's look at the setup, okay? Before I begin, basically there is a kind of new method versus old method. And I'm certainly guilty of using the old method over many years and instructing it and using it for my own game. And you know, for me, it's always been sound advice. It's helped me with my level of striking, my ball striking with chip shots. But let me just show you what that is. So it might be just the ball back in the stance, the weight sort of forwards on the left side, and a real pressed forwards handle position, so the shaft's leaning forwards quite a lot. And the damage that can cause is, as we're coming down, the club's got nowhere to go really to bury itself lower down as we pass through the ball, okay? So it can cause the lead edge to dig in, and players will associate the feeling of that and perhaps then make some manipulations against it. So rather than the club really going down into the ground, they back out of it, okay, changing the body position, and the club sort of working up, and again it might lead to inconsistent contacts. So that's a method that perhaps would work for that player that does really get too flippy in the hands, club, you know, overtaking the hands too soon, and the body not really working, getting disjointed. So if you are that style player, you know, getting really heavy contacts, fat, maybe even sort of topping the ball, thinning it because the club's working up too much, then the old method is probably okay for now until you get used to it. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is just show you what the new method contains and how that can be helpful for your chipping. So if we press the hands really far forwards, we're really using the leading edge of the club, and really what we're trying to do now is use what the wedge is designed for, and that's, you know, using the bounce of the club a little bit better. So rather than being back in the stance, we're going to be more centred, okay? We're going to have the shaft a little bit more neutral, so the hand's not quite so far forwards. Alright, and basically, you know, with that in mind, we're going to return the shaft, you know, to the point of contact again in roughly the same position, more neutral, not so this way. So we'll still be working downwards onto the ball. We won't be burying the club down after the ball into the ground. It will just work on a nice neutral position, a little bit flatter as it's working through, so more crisp in the contact and not so buried. So there's your setup position. I'm going to hit a few balls now so that you can see how that works, and then I'm going to talk about the back sand wedge. And basically we're going to use that new format. So I know we've been thinking about the old format for such a long time, and it's very difficult to change your mindset, but feel free, give it a go, and once you start to get used to it, you might see the benefits of this as well. So ball in the middle, hands not so far forward, and basically I'm going to swing back to a comfortable backswing length, all right? And from there I'm going to try and turn my body, okay? Allow my hands and arms to work with my body. I'm not trying to get down the target line. I'm working sort of left as my body turns. And really the contact, rather than me trying to really compress, squeeze into it, I'm just going to turn and let the bounce of the club do the work for me, so it doesn't dig down, it glides through that impact, and I'm going to hit a relatively high chip shot for a short distance of shot. So that's because I'm maintaining my loft, which we know is 56 degrees on a sandwich. Okay, so I'm now just going to discuss the backswing position for you. Okay, so basically we're looking to control the angle of the club head, the face, and a problem that I see now with players are really struggling with their chip shot is they'll actually get the left wrist, the lead wrist, swinging back into a sort of bowed position, all right? So we're bowing this way and come a little bit higher. And then the club gets slightly sort of behind the hand, but also it's like losing its loft. So when we're coming in there again, we're leading too much, and we're really going to have to alter the bottom of our swing arm for the club not to bury itself down. So really what we want to try and do is, as we grip the club, there will be a cuppage there, so an angle between the left arm and the wrist. And that shape, really we're trying to sort of maintain as well as we can. So instead of bowing, we're going to try and sort of keep that in a cupped shape, okay? And what in turn that will do, if you have a look at the club face, it means it's going to keep it relatively neutral, the toes a little bit more up. The shaft is more or less in line with my lead arm here, so I've got a good angle, I've got a good line of swing. Alright, so when we're looking at the chipping method, really up to here is the maximum we would want, which is roughly level with my hips, or under, so anything working under that as well. So that's the sort of backswing position we're looking for, keeping an eye on the club face, keeping an eye on the left wrist, not getting bowed, keeping that more cupped so the club face is in line. So from the selected backswing length, I'm just going to show you how you kind of return the club back towards the ball and hitting through the ball. So I'm just going to make a few swings here. Okay, so sort of ball in the middle. I'm not going to hit it, I'm just going to rest the club, pop it above the ball, shaft lean fairly neutral, weight a little bit on that left side, taking the club back here. We know we don't want to turn the club face down, and from there, look, I just want you to have a look at my action, and in particular have a look at my hands and arms, because the forward side of my swing matches my back side of the swing. And of course what I'm doing nicely there is using my hips to turn through, keeping everything blended, not folding the arms or anything through the shot, just letting the club slide through and holding, again, the same sort of position past my body, which my hand level is basically at hip height. So if I hit a shot now, just trying to use the same method, okay, where I really go from my core. I'm not trying to do too much in my wrists here, just use my body to turn back and forwards. So this gives us the right kind of descent into the ball, the right action at impact, not digging down too much, using the bounce of the club, which is the bottom of it, okay, and then turning through and holding the swing the same length that my backswing travelled back. Good practice drill for you to try. There's our golf ball, and I've just put a little white chalk line back from the ball. So, as I mentioned, the old method, the hands forwards, we know we're going to contact the ball first, but the club's probably going to sort of bottom out somewhere here in front of the ball, okay? So what I'd like you to have a go at is with the ball maybe an inch or so, inch and a half, in front of that line. I want you to see if you can let the club actually hit the ground slightly early. Okay, so remember we're trying to use the bounce of the club, not so much the sharp edge, the leading edge of the club. So I'm just going to set myself up, remember ball in the middle, okay, and we can do this without the ball to begin, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get the club to start brushing the chalk line away. So my club's just in front of that, and I'm going to see if I can just get the chalk at impact, okay? I know it sounds a bit strange, but this is what we want to try and just use that bounce of the club, okay? So let's try with a golf ball. Okay, so that's a good practice method to use. You could possibly just, if you're off grass, you know, slide a tee peg along so you can see a mark and just see if you can get the club to brush through that area at impact. So another really good drill is just to use the right hand and arm only. And you know, I just feel it will give you really solid feedback straight away, and you might even be able to play better shots just with the one hand. So we're not again going too far forward, we're keeping the hand in that position. All right, and just using the one hand, you can possibly put your left hand, if you like, behind your back. We're just going to see if we can play some decent chip shots. So again, it's just helping with the contact. We're just doing the right hand and arm only, and just getting the feeling of where the club's actually working its way through the ball. So that's going to wrap up today's chipping session. I hope you can try to use some of the things I've mentioned there when you get a chance to go out and practice, and really give it a go if you're at that higher end of player. Try that new method if you're struggling. Just keep doing what you're doing with the club off the back foot and hands forwards. Basically in the academy we've got such good facilities and technology that we can really look at other aspects of chipping, and even just get an understanding of your wedge play in general. We can look at different sort of lengths of shots that you're able to hit, different trajectories, heights, different spin ratios, and that again is probably tailored more for the better player that wants to see their wedge play improve to obviously just lower their scores a little bit. So thanks again for watching, guys. It's always a pleasure. Take care, and I'll see you on Friday.